Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. Real talk, big opinions, and fearless conversations. From the front lines of politics to the latest in pop culture. From breaking sports headlines to the stories that move the world. Nothing's off limits, and nobody's holding back. Arrington Gavin is here to break it down, build it up, and keep it all the way real. So turn it up, lean in, and let's get into it. This is the Arrington Gavin Show.
What is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, we're diving deep and keeping it real, so please do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation on tonight's convo. By the way, this is episode 642, and I appreciate you all for taking the time to chime into the show. We got a few things we're going to discuss, but first thing and I'll say it's primarily the main story that we'll be discussing here on this episode is about the Nolan Wells case. So look, we're talking about a case that has captured national attention and left a family searching for answers. 18-year-old Nolan Wells went to Horn Island, Mississippi with friends over the 4th of July weekend, but he never made it home. 2 days later, his body was found in the waters near the island. Now, since then, questions have continued to mount. Why was Nolan reportedly left behind? How did his phone and keys make it back without him? What happened during those final hours on the island? And most importantly, how did Nolan Wells die? Now, his family believes there is more to this story and is demanding transparency and in a thorough investigation. At the same time, no one has been charged, and many of the circumstances surrounding Nolan's death remains under investigation. Now, tonight we're going to separate what we know from what we don't. Okay, examine the unanswered questions and discuss the search for the truth about what happened to Nolan Wells. Now, for the most part, y'all, I stay away from, and I personally do, I stay away from certain cases in general, because why? I don't have a law degree. I don't have any form of law enforcement background, detective work, medical work. That's not my lane. Now, as you know, here on the show, we talk about the latest buzz. We talk about what has been discussed and shared for the most part through our digital lenses, through our television screens and the newspapers, and that is this Nolan Wells case, because stuff is not adding up. And of course, these cases turn political because you really have a back and forth from, you have the right against the left against the right. You wish it was just okay, just do the investigation and keep moving. But you have folks like, I'll say on the right, you have right-wing mouthpieces like Officer Tatum, who is a popular conservative talker. I don't even think he still serves in law enforcement anymore. It's just he was once an officer and has grown a huge fan base in the right-wing media. Then on the left, primarily, you have civil rights attorneys like Benjamin Crump. You have civil rights activists like Al Sharpton getting involved, and so many others. And Benjamin Crump is supporting, and I'm not calling Benjamin Crump a mouthpiece for the left. I'm just saying whenever he's involved in a national case like this, it does raise national news, and it's mostly focused on, okay, something is unfair and injustice. So I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to help provide my skills to help this family get some more answers. And so many folks have chimed in, even Nancy Grace. Now, I grew up watching Nancy Grace. Okay. I remember, I think she was on what, HLN or one of the networks. She still is extremely popular, and everybody listens when Nancy Grace gets to talk, because Nancy Grace's whole career is about solving crime. She's hosted mostly crime shows, never been a political focused person, but it's always been crime based. I remember her and Dan Abrams had a show where it was like a debate show, but it was on crime cases. I mean, she's really, really, really popular, very popular. And so And so that being said, something just hit, when something hits you, like, okay, let me read up on a little bit of info and I'll share it with you all just to get your take, right? Please provide your thoughts in the comment section. I'll truly appreciate it. But I'm very curious on this. And again, I don't, it's a sad story, and I focus strictly on politics and entertainment, pop culture news, but this is extremely important, y'all, because it raises so much. It raises so much. Nolan Wells, an African American male who was the only in the whole group when they went to this party, this boat party out in Mississippi. Again, Mississippi, very southern, very red state. It does raise questions. It really does raise questions. But we're gonna talk about it later on the show, and we have a few other stories. Sports journalist Stephen A. Smith apologized to Kyrie Irving in response to the Fauci Senate hearing, where Dr. Anthony Fauci was sitting in front of a Senate committee hearing in discussions about COVID, right? Misusage, the X, Y, and Z, because as I mentioned, you have a lot of the conservatives on the right and that don't like Dr. Fauci, especially the chair of this Senate committee hearing, Rand Paul, Kentucky. Excuse me, I just got a haircut, so I'm over here. Got hair in my mouth. Rand Paul out of Kentucky, who was never a fan of Anthony Fauci. And I've shared clips of that hearing, but Dr. Fauci, for the most part, had been pleading the fifth on everything, so he wasn't answering any questions that they were asking him, which can sometimes be a little sus, right? And so now, Stephen A. Smith comes out publicly apologizing to Kyrie Irving, and we'll talk about why he came out and why he apologized to Kyrie. But we have a lot of other stuff here on the Arrington Gavin Show that we'll be sharing with you all. As always, thank you so much for taking the time. As you know, we drop new episodes weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast, you can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show. We're also available on our social media platforms, are Instagram, X, and Blue Sky, as well as Substack. So if you're on Instagram, please follow us at the Arrington Gavin Show. Again, that is the Arrington Gavin Show on Instagram. If you're on X, follow us at AG Show Live. Okay, at AG Show Live. It's the same handle on Blue Sky as well, AG Show Live. You can also check out our website, www.theagshow.com. Theagshow.com. That's where you will just, you can hit me up by way of email. You can also follow up on the latest episodes of the Arrington Gavin Show. You can also check out past episodes on of the Arrington Gavin Show on Goatverse TV. Okay, it's an awesome growing streaming platform where you can check out and watch us past episodes of the Arrington Gavin Show. You can download it on the App Store, Google Play Store, I believe, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV. So that's just a few ways you can tune into us. You can also watch us on Rumble and Facebook. So there's no excuse if you're trying to find out where the hell is it, and how can I watch this? How can I tune into this? No excuse, people. No excuse. What else we got for you? Oh yeah, look, my friends, we are continuing to grow our channel, and we need your help to get more subscribers. If you're watching us right now and you're not subscribed, then what are you waiting for? Please subscribe to this channel. We have a goal to hit 5,000 by the end of the year, and so we just need your assistance by just simply pressing the button at the top and liking, subscribing, all that great stuff. We truly appreciate it, and just help us grow this platform. We want to continue to help spread great conversation. This is not a debate show, all right? I look, I enjoy my debate programs, but that's just not my lane. I do share my opinion, right? There is times where I disagree with my guests that I have on, but for the most part, I bring on folks that, hey, I respect, whether we agree or disagree on a lot of stuff. This is a platform for all folks, okay? As long as you don't come on this program to promote hate towards a group or an individual, then we're good. But for the most part, we're here to have open dialogue, open conversation. Whether if you're in politics, entertainment, sports, philanthropic work, we want to speak and talk about it and showcase you. And so that's what we do here on the show, y'all. We have fun as always, because fun. Look, let me tell you something. Fun, laughter. That's the best medicine you need to continue to stay young. Right? Smiling, laughing helps whiten my teeth. Okay, we got to keep that going because we got a lot of evil happening in the world. We got a lot of sadness and corruption that goes on, and we just have to continue to uplift each other, support one another, right? And be kind. That's the key thing. Be kind. When is being kind so damn hard all of a sudden? Like when has that been so hard? It's hard to, you walk by someone in a grocery store or whatever and just, hey, how you doing? Great to see you. I mean, why is that bad? He'll give you the look like, don't talk to me. I'm like, what's your problem? I mean, chill. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a commercial break, y'all. When we come back, we'll talk more of some of the stories we're going to talk about here on the show. So do not go anywhere. Don't change that dial. You're listening to the Arrington Gavin Show. We'll be right back.
Every man has a story to tell. Your ambitions, your achievements, your legacy. Your suit should reflect that story, crafted precisely, designed for impact, and tailored exclusively for you. We work with only the finest fabrics, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends from world-renowned mills in Italy, the UK, and India. These fabrics are the foundation of custom suits that exude elegance and stand the test of time. But a suit isn't just about fabric, it's about fit, and it's about confidence, and it all starts with you. When you work with me, you'll receive a personalized consultation, whether in person or over Zoom. Together, we'll explore your vision and discuss your needs, and we're going to bring your ideas to life. My journey as a designer includes apprenticing under New York-based designer Clavon Leonard, showcasing collections at New York Fashion Week, Algeria Fashion Week, and the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. That experience is what we bring to every suit we create, from weddings to corporate events and everything in between. We specialize in crafting one-of-a-kind suits for life's most significant moments. Dapper Luke has been recognized as one of Baltimore's best menswear in 2023, and I was honored to be one of the 10 designers selected for the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. With over 900 satisfied clients, we proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore, bringing world-class designs to these incredible communities. We don't just make suits, we craft confidence. Your suit will fit your body, your style, and it will tell your story. Book your free online personal consultation today. Visit www.dapperluke.com.
What's up, y'all? Welcome now.
And we still in traffic.
Don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up.
With me?
Yeah, that's that new GoVerse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of that he said?
Introducing GoatVerse TV.
GoatVerse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
order your beard care products with Rugged Evolution. We're your local beard care line that supports the maintenance of your full, mature beard. Our line includes conditioning shampoos, moisturizers, balms, oils, shaving lotions, and exfoliating soaps. These products moisturize, hydrate, nourish, and have all the natural ingredients for a healthy beard. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. And remember,
Rugged is the new smooth.
All right, my friends, welcome back. A couple of things I want to pop up. This is random, by the way. These are a couple of just random that I did not have planned, but I wanted to share this with you. I want to share this clip with you. So this is a retired Secret Service agent providing on social media why it's important to park back in instead of parking in, when you drive into a parking space and you park, I guess, the opposite instead of straight into it. Better to back in than to park forward. So here's what he explains.
When you park your car, do you back in or pull in? Here's a couple of good examples of what it looks like to actually back into your space. Now, do you have to do that? Of course not. There's plenty of people in the world that just pull right in. Are you in a hurry? Do you not think about it? Are you switched on? Listen, cops back in for emergency purposes. You know, if you have to get to a call, it's much easier to pull out than back out and bump into somebody or whatever like that. Well, the same thing applies to you in your personal life. You're parking your car at the grocery store, AutoZone, your house. You're probably not in that big of a hurry, and if you are, you need to slow down a little bit. But you never know when you might need to leave in a hurry. Also, what if your car has car trouble? You need to pop your hood and get a jump. You know, it's much easier to pull in beside this car here who's back in his space, right, and give him a jump versus trying to, get to the hood right here in the median. Anyway, just food for thought. When you park your car,
I just thought that was interesting, but random as hell, because like I back in for the most part because it's just easy to get out, right? It's not like I'm always in a hurry. It's just easier for me to look forward to if someone's coming than to back, even though my vehicle has the reverse cam to make it easy. I think that's why most cars do that. They have that reverse cam so it can easy for your vision, make sure you're not going to hit anybody. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. He's like, hey, look, if your car breaks down, well, it's easy to pump your hood when you want to. I mean, regardless, it's easier, whatever. But I know if you're at the grocery store primarily, it is easier to just pull in because for the most part, if you have a lot of groceries, where you putting it? Not your back seat, you put it in your trunk. And so pushing that whole cart, around to the back, it could be, it's difficult, right? So for the most part, I see people, I never keep an eye on like, hey, who backs in more? Who pulls in more? It's interesting. It really is interesting. So I guess the question I want to share with this guy, and this again, this guy just came across my feed, but he provides a lot of food for thought questions. But what are you? Do you back in or do you pull in? Regardless of the vehicle. I'm not talking about, SUV, pickup trucks, none of that stuff. No, regardless of the vehicle, are you a back in or pulling? Which one do you prefer? Just curious with that. Also, did I want to share? Okay, before we get going to this, also came across my feed that I want to share. So, former U.S. Senator out of West Virginia, Joe Manchin, who was a longtime Democrat, and then shortly before he retired from politics, well, I'll say from elected office, he became a registered independent, and now he's on the move, continuing to promote independence. And it's like, okay, look, as an independent myself, I appreciate him as a former elected official, to push that narrative, because hey, look, maybe he has a reach that that a lot of people that for the most part don't have, especially in the independent party movement. There's only two. There's more than, there's a few independents in Washington, but as far as the more popular one you have is Bernie Sanders, who has been a long time independent U.S. senator for a very, very, very long time. He's the only Senate member that's a part of the Progressive Caucus, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think Joe Manchin should be the mouthpiece to promote independence into independent candidates, or we need more independence in Congress or in Senate. I mean, yes, we're all going to continue to say that, but I don't think he has that kind of pull to share. So here's what he was on Morning Joe on MS Now, and here's what he had to say.
What do you make of, especially the Republicans in the Senate and the House?
Well, it's pure chaos. People are just so tired. They're having a hard time just making it today. You all continue to talk about that, and you're spot on, because food, energy costs, gasoline to get to work, everything is just absolutely out of sight. And it's so chaotic because one day you hear, well, oil prices are coming down, gasoline's coming down. Well, just wait. It's like the weather. Wait for an hour or two, it'll change. And then it's chaotic, it changes again. The war's not over. Things are going on. Oil prices going up. Food supply, food chain, everything's just really taking a toll on people, and it's wearing them out. And it's nothing getting done. Nothing's getting done.
What do you do about the old-fashioned stuff that people depend on? I mean, can you get independents to say, yeah, minimum wage, yeah, more health care, better health care, yeah, take care of Social Security, stuff like that, stuff that is slowly being cut or reduced or moved to the side? What do you do about that?
Mike, the whole process of what we're trying to do, and I've been there long enough, and I know sometimes when you get caught in the middle, one vote can make a difference. You can bring people back together. In the 117th Congress from January 21 until January 23, we got a lot accomplished, and we were 50-50. They figured out I wasn't going to go extreme to the left or extreme to the right, and I wanted to work with both sides. People even asked the question, why'd you become an independent? I said, I like both sides. There are good people with good ideas that are there for the right reason. They've just basically been blanked out because the center left and center right, there's no room for them. All the energy's been sucked out by the extremes.
What do you make of?
I mean, yeah, he makes a valid point. I believe that because you have so many. I guess to make a point of my good friend Amanda Nelson's, aka Amanda's Mild Takes, where she said that I don't think Congress, or I don't care for C-SPAN. I don't think video cameras should be allowed in session, because then you have these folks that build on this character. And when you have those folks that build, whoever's the most characterized one becomes the face. If that person that's primarily very on the extremes, regardless of Democrat or Republican, that becomes the face, and you blank out the centrist that is in office. So he's very accurate with that. And I've come across a bunch of folks who consider themselves independent Democrats. It's interesting because I'm like, you're independent first, then a Democratic second, but publicly you're a Democrat first, because there is no really independent party in Congress or in Senate. So it's interesting. I think that, yes, I appreciate his service. I appreciate his time in office. I appreciate him continue to showcase independent voices and the push for independence in DC. But I just think all this is publicity, good publicity for Joe Manchin. He's on a national, well-known national news program. He's selling books talking about independence. He's working with coalitions and organizations about it keeps him working. Okay. I'm sorry. It's just it. And maybe it's a little bit hypocritical because, hey, look, what do I do? Right. I continue to talk about the issues with both sides, but I guess I'm a little more like, I'm slightly frustrated with Manchin, because for years while he was in office as a Democrat, why not make that change while in office and then say, okay, look, let's talk about the independence. Let's bring in more independent voices. Like, that's just me personally. But in Washington, when it comes to politics, there are so many folks that will change parties or leave their parties while in office. And guess what? When it's time for re-election, they never win. They never win. Who was it? The lady out of Arizona, I'm blanking on her name, but she left. Kristen Sinema. There we go. Kristen Sinema. She was a longtime Democrat, became an independent while serving. When it was time for re-election, she lost terribly. Okay. Everybody, It happens to everybody, even on a local level, right? I mean, look at Eric Adams. Now, Eric Adams was not former mayor of New York City. He was not a popular individual by all means, but he left the Democratic Party while he was shortly about to while it was coming close to his reelection, but he left the Democratic Party, became an independent, and this man couldn't even get crumbs to vote for him during the last race. So it's the way the game is played, my friends. It's the way the game is played. But let's go ahead and transition from some politics to something that I enjoy, and that's wrestling. No, that's a professional wrestling. So AEW, All Elite Wrestling, which is I enjoy it. I enjoy both WWE and AEW. Now, I've been to a live AEW event that is pretty dope. They have a lot of well-known names in the wrestling industry, professional wrestling industry, and it's awesome. It is awesome. I enjoy it. I think it's I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Anyways, though, I'm bringing up I'm trying to incorporate a little more wrestling news to the show. Because again, this is just I continue to share more to you all about things that I love, right? You might say, oh my gosh, wrestling's fake, wrestling's corny. Hey, you have your opinion, I have mine. I just know it's very entertaining. It's been a part of my life since I was a kid. It brings a lot of people together. I would say it brings a lot of folks together. So let me go and read you this in some wrestling news. So the Motor City Machine Guns says, what up, dude, to AEW Detroit. Motor City Machine Guns, the pro wrestling tag team comprised of Metro Detroiters Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. Now, these two individuals, I came across them back during the original TNA days, Total Nonstop Action, right? TNA, I believe, is now owned by, well, either it's owned by WWE or they're still solely owned, but they do a lot of collabs with WWE. Anyway, I came across them and they were stars of that era. They returned to All Elite Wrestling at Detroit's Masonic Temple recently. The pair opened the show, a live edition of Collision, which aired live on TNT and was streamed on HBO Max. Now, Shelley and Sabin, the ring names of Patrick Martin and Joshua Harder, respectfully, were previously a part of the World Wrestling Entertainment, but were let go from the company in April. Now, I'll be honest, I've watched very briefly of the Motor City Machine Guns in WWE. Looked a little weird. It just looked weird. They weren't big stars. Obviously, folks knew them who are fans of professional wrestling. They're like, oh snap, they're there. But it just, it wasn't them, right? It just wasn't them. And so, WWE has laid off a lot of entertainers and a lot of professional wrestlers from their brand. So, they were one of them. Quote here, Sabin said, did you really think we wouldn't be here? Well, actually, let me go ahead and share you the clip because I think the clip is much better to share. There we go.
Did you really think we wouldn't be here? Because let me tell you, there is no place we would rather be than right here in the greatest city in the history of modern civilization.
Detroit. In more ways than one, we are home. And it is our immense pleasure to finally say the Motor City Machine Guns are all elite.
Did you really?
So boom, you got that message from Alex Shelley, who I don't know what his ring name was, because I shared the ring names, but I didn't know who's which. But anyways, let me just read you a little bit more of this. Like I said, because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of wrestling. Motor City Machine Guns were previously part of the AEW in 2022. The well-traveled tag team has also wrestled over the years in New Japan Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and TNA. Now, the duo are not only partners in the ring, but close friends outside of it. They're also in a band together, explains the attire, because they've always dressed as like rockers, called Grippling, GRPPLNG, which released a 4-song EP, H's All Around. Okay, awesome. Wrestling provides, Saban says wrestling provides a lot of unique experiences. He told the Detroit News last December, and it's nice to have someone by your side to experience those things. In the recent Collision episode, also saw an appearance from the Insane Clown Posse, the infamous Detroit rap duo. Okay. Along with Detroit professional wrestler Rhino. Okay, awesome. Oh yeah, because they did the ALS bucket challenge, because I know one of their wrestlers is publicly battling ALS. So again, I wanted to share this because I'm just gonna continue to share small bits of wrestling news here on this show. Everybody loves professional wrestling. It's always going to be an ongoing debate on, well, WWE is getting too corporate, and AEW still keeps that original pizzazz, that old school, that again, that Attitude Era, maybe was the Attitude Era. Then you had the ruthless aggression era. There's some key areas that was my favorite. Like, again, I'm a 90s baby, so early 2000s, late 90s, and then, like I said, early to mid 2000s was my moment right there. 20s to I don't know, 08, 09. But it still is entertaining. I will say it still is entertaining. I think my wife and I actually got tickets to see an upcoming AEW event very soon out here in the Hampton Roads area. All right, next up on the show, I want to talk about Stephen A. Smith. So Stephen A. Smith recently shared a public apology to Kyrie Irving. Okay, to Kyrie Irving. Let me go ahead and find that clip here, and we'll talk about that on the other side.
There were others who had the courage to say, bump that. One of those people at the forefront was Kyrie Irving. I bring his name up because I had my issues with him from a leadership standpoint, never as a player, because he's sensational, but with him in terms of leadership. And I didn't look at it as being courageous. I looked at it as being selfish. And I watched Dr. Fauci on Capitol Hill yesterday. And the person I thought about most was Kyrie Irving because of the heat that he was taking. And how folks were piling on because that was just the latest transgression in their eyes that he was committing and subjecting the public to. He refused the vaccine. New York City's mandate made him ineligible for home games. And he linked his stance to people losing jobs over vaccine mandates. In my opinion, particularly hindsight-wise, it didn't make him stubborn or selfish. It made him brave for his willingness to stand up and say, nah, I'm not doing that. But there were others who had.
And you know what? I think Stephen A. Smith did the right thing to apologize, even though I didn't agree with the stance that Kyrie took personally. And the reason why I did not agree with, yes, people should not, it was a shame that people had to lose their jobs because they refused to take vaccination that, again, they weren't too familiar with. They're like, I don't know. I think it needs to be a longer length of research done with this. There needs to be longer research trials with this vaccine. So I'm gonna pass and refuse. And yeah, some of them were let go, some of them lost a lot of money. And that was, hey, they said my health comes first. I'll have to, find another way to make some money or go on unemployment, or the stimulus checks, helped briefly, like very, very small. But yeah, I think he did the right thing by apologizing, because you always want to call someone selfish, ignorant on a large scale. Someone grown and embarrassing like that is a bit unfair, especially when they're when you work in the industry where you're going to come across this person a lot, and you all probably have a lot of mutual friends. So that's, and it was with Stephen A. Smith's status, he could have easily got connected with Kyrie and said, hey, look, what was, get some answers, right? He's a journalist, for crying out loud, but he's also paid to be an opinion and share his opinion too. So he shared his opinion. But the reason why I also why I say I disagreed with Kyrie's stance too is because if you are the leader of a team, right? If you are the captain, the anchor, the captain of this ship, and you affected your team season because, hey, look, I'm not gonna do it now. I'll wear the mask, but I'm not gonna. I still want to play. I'm just not saying I'm not doing it. Where Stephen A. Smith is coming from is like, okay, he thought more of himself than he did about his teammates. Now, in a business standpoint, I didn't agree with Kyrie's take. And again, look, I took the vaccine. I'm team taking the vaccine. Now, I don't think you're wrong for ignoring or not taking it. I don't think people should be forced to take it. Now, if you refuse to, that's your prerogative. You have the right to do that. All I was saying is, hey, look, if I have the funds, if I have the wealth to say, hey, look, let me get in touch with these doctors. Is this accurate? Is this real? Is this a safe pro? Because everybody's always gonna be like, I know folks that barely took the flu shot. I know people that never took anything and they've been fine. Look, I was raised on taking vaccines. I haven't missed a day of taking my flu shot. I've always taken vaccines. My body, I guess, is familiar with taking vaccines. And two, I put the trust in the medical professionals, in my physician. If my physician says I highly recommend you take it, I'm taking it. All right. But I do have control of my own body too. So if he says, well, I really don't think you need it, but it is good, but it's your call, I'm like, let me think on it. And if it starts affecting my pocket, if it starts affecting the fact that I can't see all my family, I'm going to take it. Because best believe, y'all, the vaccine is one thing that folks will say, I will never put that in my body. Do y'all know how much shit we put in our body on a regular? I'm just being honest. So you telling me you never touch fast food? You never touched you never touched any form of like artificial flavoring, anything, candy, alcohol. Have you ever touched a cigarette or a cigar or anything with cannabis, marijuana? I mean, like everything that we consume, even lotions, toothpaste, like we just don't know. We just don't know. So all I'm saying is, yes, a shot is intimidating looking. I hate needles. I don't like needles. I love getting tattoos, but I hate needles. All I'm saying is that we don't know what we really put in our body. Seriously, we really don't know. So that being said, this one vaccine is not the worst. Oh my God, I'm just like, that's all I'm saying. But set aside, I go back to saying you have the absolute right to say to refuse to take the vaccine or to receive it. And if you don't take it, then you should not be criticized. And that's where I'm saying it was great. It was nice that Stephen A. Smith apologized to Kyrie. But I think, again, if I have to play devil's advocate, coming from a business standpoint, sports, that sports is a business, right? The team that he played for, that was a business decision that he did. For people that lost jobs, he's taking a stance for people that got let go. They took a business position. They took a stance and said, hey, look, if I do this, for the most part, I'm probably gonna lose my job. If I work in a hospital and I'm refusing to take this, I'm probably gonna lose my job. They took a stance. That was a business decision that they made. Was it a safe one? Probably. Was it smart? I don't know. I mean, I'm looking here. It says here that he gave up around $11.4 million in game checks and said his decision also cost him a 4-year extension for worth more than $100 million with the Brooklyn Nets. Because New York had a ban. New York is a tri-state area where New York is, everybody's a bunch of sardines, whether if you're walking in the streets or in subway stations or on the buses. So it's easily to catch something out there in New York City. I don't know, man. It's always a back and forth. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be disagreeing with my take on that, but I just see it differently. But I think too, Stephen A. Smith took that stance by he took that stance apologizing to Kyrie because of the recent hearing where Anthony Fauci continued over 100 times, I believe, plead the Fifth Amendment, or took the plea, plead the Fifth 111 times. This is I'm reading this article by The Hill where Stephen A. Smith said you can't show up to Capitol Hill and plead the Fifth 111 times. I don't know if it was literally 111 times, but it was over 100. So let me read you this very briefly. Stephen A. Smith shared former White House chief medical advisor Anthony Fauci should have answered lawmakers' questions during the hostile Senate hearing early during the week, instead of invoking his Fifth Amendment rights. Now, my thing is this, Stephen A. Smith. If you were getting sued, if you were set on trial and your attorney told you to do one thing, are you not going to listen to your attorneys? Are you not going to listen? You listen to medical professionals. So are you not going to listen to the professionals that you hire to make sure that you are going to stay good and in the clear? So please stop it with you don't go to Capitol Hill and plead the Fifth. If there is an amendment that folks have the right to use and he used it, then damn it, he used it. You don't have to like it. Hell, I didn't like it. I look at that as, paying a settlement. Okay. If you avoid all those questions, that shows some guilt, but it also shows slight pettiness because the folks that are asking are folks that already hated you before you even walked in the building. Okay. So I understand him saying, all right, y'all hate me. Let's go ahead and play this game. Let's go ahead and play this game. I'm cool. Let's go ahead and do it. So Smith again argued that Fauci owed the public an explanation after serving as the face of the nation's COVID-19 response. As it strictly pertains to the coronavirus pandemic, my attitude, this is a quote from Stephen A. Smith, my attitude is, with you being the face of that you have been, you can't show up to Capitol Hill and plead the Fifth 111 times. Now, if he didn't go, then it'll be more hell to pay. But guess what? He showed up. And he utilized a tool that is found in the law where you can use at that point and say, hey, look, I plead the Fifth. You just can't do that. That's not right. You've got to answer some questions. Look, there's folks that are team Fauci. There's folks that are team not Anthony Fauci. So for those folks, they want an answer. For those that are team Fauci, they said, I can give a damn of what he shares. I don't care. I don't care to. I want to move forward. So it's interesting, y'all. It's very, very interesting. But and just to let's see. Nope, nothing new here. So let me go ahead and digress from this, and then we're going to take a breather. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a little bit of the Nolan Wells case. Now, you're listening to the Arrington Gavin Show. Do not go anywhere. Don't change that dial. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
Let me tell you something most people get wrong about suits. A suit isn't just about you wearing it. It's how you show the world who you are. It's your handshake before you say a word, your presence when you step into any room. That's why we design statements at Dapper Luke. We don't just make suits. We'll start with the fabrics that tell your story. luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends sourced from the finest mills in Italy, the UK, and India. Then we'll combine that with your vision, your personality, and your style. Every detail is tailored to you, from the fit to the finish. Whether for your wedding, a gala, the boardroom, we specialize in creating custom suits that are unique, just like the men who wear them. We spent years perfecting this craft, apprenticing under designers in New York and showcasing collections in New York and for Baltimore Fashion Week. None of that matters as much as seeing the look on your face when you try on your custom suit. Over 900 clients have already trusted us to deliver the best custom suits. They trust me to deliver the confidence. We proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore and would be honored to bring your vision to life next. Let's create something unforgettable. Book your free consultation today at www.dapperluke.com.
6'10", number 1 pick, 16 seasons, College Player of the Year, All-Rookie Standout. Joe Smith built a career on grit, consistency, and showing up.
Greatness isn't just about the game. It's about how you show up every day. Rugged Evolution now offers body care products for every man, because not every man wears a beard, but every man deserves care. Greatness doesn't fade.
It evolves. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Every beard deserves to be legendary, and every man deserves care.
I'm Aaron Phillips. Join me Saturdays at 12:30 as I host The Voice of 757. I'll share news, events, happenings, and the people that shape the 757. That's The Voice of 757, Saturday afternoon at 12:30 right here on Sky 4.
All right, my friends. Well, let's get it going. More about this Nolan Wells case. So let me backtrack here. Let me go ahead and backtrack. Give me a second. Get all my stuff situated. So 18-year-old Nolan Wells, was at a gathering with some friends, 4th of July weekend, and never came back home. Okay. As of July, I just want to let you know on this report about People Magazine, as July of 31st, no one has been charged. The official investigation remains unresolved, and the publicly released independent autopsy, did not determine a cause or manner of death. A major development today in the Mississippi State Medical Examiner has reportedly completed the official autopsy, but results have not yet been publicly released or provided to the family. So that's as of right now, as we were doing this recording right here, y'all. That's information as of right now. So just kind of go back. Noah Xavier Wells, 18-year-old from Ocean City Springs, Mississippi. He had recently graduated from the high school, Ocean Springs High School, and was a student athlete, wide receiver at Southwest Mississippi Community College. He would have turned 19 in August. Now, on July 4th, Wells went with a group of friends by private boat to Horn Island, Barrier Island, roughly 10 miles off Mississippi Gulf Coast, as reported by a source of WTVA.com. Now, to give you some more information, this was provided by the Washington Post. Wells traveled to Horn Island with friends for the 4th of July outing. The crucial issue is what happened when the group prepared to leave. Now, according to the accounts reported publicly, Wells' friends said he stayed behind on the island, reportedly because he wanted to continue talking with a girl. He, therefore, did not return to the mainland on the boat with his friends. Now, an explanation has become one of the central points questioned by his parents. Among other things, Wells' phone and car keys returned to the mainland without him. His mother, Kristen Walsley, subsequently tracked the phone using an app. Now, the family has questioned why Wells would intentionally remain on an isolated island without his phone, keys, transportation, or clear way home. Now, those circumstances are reasons for the investigation by themselves. They did not establish that Wells was killed or that his friends were responsible. Okay. Now, the boat itself also had trouble. Although a piece of the timeline has drawn attention during the return trip, an emergency call was made to Sea Tao reporting that the boat was taking on water because of an apparent belligerent bump malfunction. Now, Wells' family has now retained experts to analyze the recorded calls. Their attorneys are investigating what the recording may establish about the timeline, people on board the vessel, and circumstances surrounding the return trip. And again, the boat malfunction is not evidence of a crime, but investigators are trying to reconstruct precisely what occurred before, during, and after the Wells disappearance. Now, this has been ongoing, y'all, and it's very hard where you just again, outside looking in, African-American male, hanging with some friends. I'm gonna just say I'm just hypothetically, because I'm there's multiple pictures, but it's a variety of group of people. There's a lot of people. There's only one African-American person there, and that's Nolan Wells. So parents, no one has said race. No one has said is racism involved, this, that, and the other. Folks are trying to understand what happened. No evidence, like what is going on? It's not this is not adding up. No one's talking. What is happening here? So everybody starts to bring up their own point of view on things, X, Y, and Z. And so you got folks like Brandon Tatum. Brandon Tatum. Oh, before I bring up Brandon Tatum, I just want to say, it says here, okay, late July 4th, Nolan is reporting missing. So by approximately 11 p.m., Wells' mother became concerned after receiving a call from one of his friends. Okay, she attempted to locate Nolan and ultimately reported him missing. A friend had also reported him missing to the U.S. Coast Guard. That's reported by Washington Post right there. They began a search involving law enforcement and rescue personnel. Now, July 5th, authorities searched the Horn Island area. Investigators subsequently asked members of the public who had been around the northwest portion of Horn Island on the 4th of July to turn over photographs, video, or eyewitness information. One part of the request was particularly significant. Authorities specifically asked for material depicting alleged altercations or images believed to contain Wells, as well as accounts of arguments or disturbances. Now, Georgia Public Broadcasting showed that does not mean authorities established that an altercation occurred. It means investigators were seeking evidence that could confirm or disprove reports about one. Now, July 6th, body is found. Monday morning, Wells' body was discovered in the water just off of Horn Island. Now, initially, investigators said circumstances appeared consistent with a possible drowning, and authorities indicate that they did not have evidence establishing foul play. All right. This investigation still remains active. The distinction matters. No evidence of foul play is not the same thing as a final determination that the death was accidental. Okay. Now, family questions the drowning explanation. The parents of Nolan did not believe that the available information adequately explained what happened. Among their concerns were the circumstances under which Nolan's supposedly stayed behind, his phone and keys returning without him, differing or incomplete accounts of the final hours, and questioning surrounding evidence on his phone. Now, his parents also raised concerns about whether racial bias might affected the investigation because Wells was black, all right, and the other members of the group were white. That is an allegation concern raised by the family, according to Washington Post, not a finding the race played a role in his death. there are folks that are wanting answers. And I'm sorry, but if I'm a black person, if I'm a black man, let's see, if I'm a black man living in Mississippi, yeah, you're gonna have some questions. You're gonna have your maybe it's look, you're trying to find all things that can get you answers. All right. Now, civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump represents the family. Crump's team began conducting an independent investigation, arguing that inconsistencies and unanswered questions warrant additional scrutiny. Now, Crump has publicly said the circumstances do not add up to the family and has pushed for evidence, witness cooperation, and greater transparency from authorities, reported by NBC Chicago. The case consequently moved from a primarily local missing person death investigation into a national followed story. Now, a second autopsy becomes critical. Family commission an independent autopsy, which I believe former NFL star Colin Kaepernick had poured money into paying for an independent investigation. Tyler Perry paid for the funeral of Nolan Wells. On July 22nd, the preliminary findings were announced. Central conclusion was cause of death undetermined pending investigation, manner of death undetermined pending investigation. Now, another headline I'm coming across here. But before I move forward, I want to just play you a few clips. This is the family of Nolan Wells on Chris Cuomo's program, and they have their, sitting with their attorney Benjamin Crump, and the family is urging anyone who may have information about their son to come forward. But let me just share you a little bit of this clip here when they were on Cuomo, who has a primetime show on News Nation.
Nolan's parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, join me now with counsel, Ben Crump. Thank you for joining us. I'm very sorry it's under these circumstances, but the job here is to give you a platform to keep people aware of your concerns. And Christine, I'll start with you. At this point, what is your biggest question about what's happening with this investigation?
It is really the same question that started it all, which is what happened to Nolan. That is the only question that we want answered. We just want to know what happened to our son. I know I personally, through my social media, also Attorney Ben and his team through their social media, that's been the big focus, just trying to make sure that everyone understands that at the end of the day, we would want what any parent would want, which is answers to find out what happened.
Understood. Elmore, you heard that kid Trace in the interview say that he was friends with Nolan and that you guys would know him. Do you know him? Do you recognize him?
No, I don't. Just because you park your vehicle in someone's yard doesn't mean that they have to know you. Sounds more to me like he's more focused on getting people to know him and getting away from the fact that his so-called best friend is not here anymore. Everyone that they may have interviewed are at home. Our son isn't. Our son should be in college right now. We should be receiving phone calls from him about how his day went, but we can't. And we just want everybody to focus on what the real subject matter is.
Understood. One of the key aspects early on here, counsel, has been Nolan's phone. originally with why was it on the boat? Why was he separated from it? There are explanations about that. Was anything done to it? One of the friends responded to that suggestion. Let me play it for you and get your response.
None of us had a reason to go through Nolan's phone. I mean, there's multiple phones on the boat. Why would we? And the boat was having issues. Why would our concern be getting on Nolan's phone or something? I mean, I don't even know Nolan's password. None of my friends do. We had no reason ever to get on Nolan's phone and look at anything. I didn't even touch Nolan's phone. None of us touched Nolan's phone until somebody took it off the boat and put it in a wax truck, and then no one touched it until we handed it back, to the mom that was at my buddy's house.
Counsel, does that square?
Chris Como, Nolan is dead. We're going to dot every I. We're going to cross every T. We're going to look under every rock. His mother called his phone repeatedly with no answer. That raises questions. That's all we want to get to is answers. If this was your child, Chris Como, wouldn't you want to ask every question possible for everybody who was on Horn Island to say, did you see what happened to Nolan? What happened? Where was he at? And that's all they're asking, and people are attacking them for trying to get answers. Can you imagine that? She's getting attacked at her job. She's getting bad job reviews. She had never gotten any in her entire career. And now, since she's been going on TV saying, I want to get answers for my son, she's been attacked by sick individuals trying to, I guess, in some way discourage them from continuing to say his name and say that we won't let it be swept under the rug.
Nolan's parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley.
So that was a clip from where the parents of Nolan Wells was on News Nation. Now here is another clip I'm going to share with you all where a reporter from the Grio had spoke with the parents asking, I believe, well, hold on. So this right here is Brandon Tatum. So I guess this is a good way to provide who Brandon Tatum is. So Brandon Tatum, better known online as Officer Tatum, is a conservative political commentator, author, media personality, former police officer, and former college football player. His law enforcement background and his willingness to challenge progressive arguments about policy, race, and the politics have made him a household name, primarily a star in the right-wing movement. I believe he was a contributor or still is a contributor for Turning Point USA. He is somebody who I've always despised because literally, if you can look, I have nothing against black conservatives by all means, but if you make a living speaking down about your race to make a living, right? Because look, his base is not black people. His base is white conservatives, far right extremists. That's his base. He does that to continue to make a living. There was a debate between him and a gentleman from he's a contributor on MS now. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on Charles somebody. I'm blanking on his name. But they were on Stephen A. Smith's show having a face off, right against the left kind of thing. And just the words coming out of his mouth then he had another one, I think before that, with Gary Chambers Jr. and Brandon Tatum. And it's just like Brandon Tatum continues to be the issue when it comes to providing knowledge and helpful stuff to our community. Because look, you know how much I can't stand Candace Owens. I think Brandon Tatum might be worse than Candace Owens. I really do. I think Brandon Tatum and Jason Whitlock go to the same club for sure. They are members. They are platinum members of the same club. You can guess what club I think that is. But he has grown his career, and now he's over here doing his own investigation into this, talking with the friends of Nolan Wells. So here is one where he has spoken. He's on the side defending the friend. And I'm not accusing anybody. I'm not accusing a friend, but I'm just saying, like, Brandon Tatum, if you want to take all the time, how about you take your investigative work and help the family instead of, he makes it a get back at Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump. And that's what he does. So one of Nolan's friends say he beats himself up every night for leaving Horn Island before disappearing. So here's a interview of one of Nolan's friends sitting down talking with Brandon Tatum. So let me go ahead and share that clip with you. And I believe a reporter from the Griot speaks with the family in response to that clip there.
Was my best friend.
Yeah, and so how does it make you feel when the media, activists are coming out and alluding to the fact that you may have something to do with what happened to Nolan on that day?
Man, that hurts. It hurts is an understatement. I beat myself up every night I lay down. Beat myself up anytime it crosses my mind. Because in my head, if I wasn't drinking, if I didn't get into that altercation, maybe I would be able to do something. Maybe I would have saw something. Maybe I would have told Nolan, hey, man, you're not going with that girl. Just come back with us. We're going back a little bit later. We can go meet up with the guys later. Maybe it just plays out different. That was my guy. Like, that was my best friend.
Yeah, and so how does it make you feel when the media, activists are coming out and alluding to the fact that you may have something to do with what happened to Nolan on that day?
Man, that hurts. It hurts is an understatement. I beat myself up every night I lay down. Beat myself up anytime it crosses my mind. Because in my head, if I wasn't drinking, if I didn't get into that altercation, maybe I would be able to do something. Maybe I would have saw something. Maybe I would have told Nolan, hey, man, you're not going with that girl. Just come back with us.
Have you spoken to Tristan since Nolan's passing, and how are you responding to his account of what happened?
So first of all, we don't know Tristan. We've never met him. So to say, best friend, childhood friend, that's a bit of a stretch. We've never met him. He's never been to our home. Now, if you were to say that about Jalen or Javon, I would say absolutely. You could say that those are childhood friends, those are best friends, because they've been to our home. But again, we don't know him. And not to discount anything he has said. But I mean, he has communicated. He did offer his condolences, which we appreciate.
Have you spoken to Tristan?
So right there, okay, bam, red flag. So the parents have said, look, we've never met the gentleman that was just talking with Brandon Tatum. So just to say childhood best friends is a stretch. Now, is there there was times where, look, I had close friends that my folks never met. Now they were aware and knew of them. They might have heard me say their name, or they I went to a private school, so I can't relate very closely on the amount, because like when you go to public school, there's a large class of students. Okay. But my folks knew all my friends. Now, if they saw them walking down, I saw your friend. Yeah, like they know. I was a people person. I have a lot of friends. Okay. And if they never spoke with you more than 2 words, they still knew of you. And if somebody says, okay, look, I made a friend, say I'm a senior and I made a friend and I consider that person the best friend, they never met my parents, I think that's fair to say, okay, look, that's a common thing. But childhood friend, them parents gonna know a lot of you. I mean, you saw how they just shared a couple of names right there. I don't know, man. I will say it was curious. It was interesting how those two names happen. I mean, Javon and somebody else, they sound like some black names. But your boy was hanging around with a bunch of I don't know. I mean, I don't know how Mississippi, flows. I don't know. But I just thought that was interesting there too. It's tough. It's sad because when we were young, we did, stupid decisions when it comes to, hey, drinking, horse playing, doing this, doing that, not thinking straight, and coulda, woulda, shoulda. And I think it is sad that this whole case has changed the life of, these young people. I mean, a life was lost. Folks are looking at these kids as, okay, we got questions. Now, to say they fully say they did something with it, no one's pointing the finger. See, Brandon Tatum, who's, again, playing on the opposing end, he makes it worse by doing these interviews, by bringing up these questions repeatedly. But the parent said, I ain't never heard of this. I don't know this person. Now, here's the last clip I'm going to share, and then we're going to be coming to a close very soon, very shortly, excuse me. Brandon Tatum spoke with Nancy Grace. Nancy Grace does not BS for nobody. Okay, she's been in the game for years. Let me give you a little background on Ms. Nancy Grace. She is a legal commentator and a television journalist, right? She's hosted current affairs shows for all her life, primarily crime related. That is her preference. That is what she does. She's a former prosecutor, for crying out loud. All right. Former prosecutor. She's been doing this forever. You can't, it's not a political stance that she takes. She takes the truth, justice, the whole 9 yards. She does not play. What I love about this clip is, see, Brandon Tatum changes his tone when he talks with Nancy Grace. When he was talking to other folks, getting questioned X, Y, and Z, you can't even get a word edgewise. But when he's talking with Nancy Grace, so check out, and Nancy is like saying, hold on, something's not right here. Something's not right. Listen to this.
I couldn't imagine that they want to get underage drinking on camera. So what they had articulated to me, that it wasn't abnormal for people not to snap and not to do a lot of pictures and things like that, because they were focused on
But you
being
told me
off of the
they
mainland.
showed you pictures and videos.
Yeah,
So
but
they
it's
did
not
take pictures
uploaded.
and videos.
No. It's not a lot of pictures, and they weren't uploaded. So when you're talking about Snapchat, you're talking about a platform where people are uploading images and pictures to produce to the world. What they showed me were things that they had recorded on their phone, and it wasn't a lot of different things, because most of what they did was drinking and having fun in the water. And so, what they had articulated to me as well is that it's not abnormal for people not to snap. It's not abnormal for you not to have your phone. And Nolan wasn't the only person that left his phone on the boat. They also mentioned to me, and you can see it in the interview that they did, was that they had no reason to touch Nolan's phone. They weren't thinking about Nolan's phone when they thought the boat was sinking. And when they got to the house, it was no incident when it comes to Nolan getting the phone back to the friend and parent.
You're going far afield from my question. Let me redirect you back to their phones. Nolan has nothing on his phone. They have pictures and videos on their phones. You told me that they exist, whether they posted them or not. So they were taking pictures and videos. Don't you see why the mom, Nolan's mom, is concerned there's nothing on her son's phone?
Well, Nancy, it's unclear exactly what the mother is articulating. I couldn't imagine that they want to get underage drinking on camera.
So that was one. Here is another quick clip. I know I said that was the last one, but here's the one that I really wanted to share that I actually reposted on my platform, where again Nancy calls BS on Officer Tatum, on Brandon Tatum.
Have the friends taken polygraphs?
Well, from my understanding, all but I believe one took a polygraph, and from what was told to me, that they all passed. And all of the ones that took a polygraph took one without a lawyer. And they cooperated with law enforcement. So from my understanding, everybody took a polygraph test for one.
You understand? Did they tell you they took a poly and passed?
Yes, ma'am. They told me that they did it. I wasn't there. So that's why I'm saying, from my understanding, they told me that all the boys except one, which is Warren, I believe, took a polygraph test. All of them did not have lawyers and did it and cooperated with police. Warren also cooperated with police. I just believe he didn't take a lie detector test, but Warren is the young man that I interviewed. So according to what they told me, they all took a lie detector test and passed. And it's an equivalent of a lie detector test. It's not a traditional lie detector test, but it's the same theology of trying to get to if a person is lying. I don't know the name of it. It's an equivalent of a lie detector test. It's a different methodology. I don't believe it was a polygraph test. I believe they took other stressors in order to analyze if
So
people
then
were
the
telling the
answer
truth or
to
not.
did they take a polygraph would be no.
Well, yeah, I think it could be semantics because they took a test to analyze whether or not they were being truthful in their statements, and that certified test, they passed it. It just wasn't considered a traditional polygraph. I think it's a more advanced way of doing it.
Brandon Tatum. Hold on.
Again, you have folks that continue to gaslight issues like Brandon Tatum. He was caught multiple times, right? And so at the end of the day, my friends, and I'm glad you stay, with us because we went a little over, but this is an ongoing investigation. We will continue to share a lot of this on our social. I don't want to talk about this really anymore on the show because again, I don't want to continue to. I want to step out my lane when it comes to investigations, attorney, all this other stuff. But we will, continue to share it on our social media platforms. So be sure to be on the lookout on IG, Blue Sky, X, Substack. We'll talk more about it. But we just want to see justice for this family, and that's. And I think the whole world can agree on that. We want to see justice for this family. Until next time, my friends, thank you for sticking with us. We will next time for another great convo here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay informed. I will talk to you soon for another great convo. I'm out.
That's it for tonight on the Arrington Gavin Show. Thanks for tapping in and keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget, stay connected with us on all platforms. Follow at Arrington Gavin on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, and subscribe to the official Substack for exclusive takes and deep dives you won't get anywhere else. We're here every weeknight, same time, same energy, same real talk. Until next time, stay bold, stay sharp, and stay true. That's what we do on the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace.